Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, November 2nd, 2018.
Commissioner Garcia, Vice President Repenning, President James, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Jacinto are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Adal Haj Khalil, Bureau of Street Services.
Norma Sahakian, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Gary Lee Moore, Bureau of Engineering.
Enrique Zaldivar, Bureau of Sanitation.
Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did not receive any speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
All right, well, we thank you, everyone, for being here. We've got the brass here today. Let's go ahead and take care of our two agenda items, and then we can have our special presentation. Agenda item number 1, contract amendment number 7, Los Angeles Conservation Corps, recommending that the board first authorize the Office of Community Beautification, subject to transfer and appropriation, to execute a contract amendment with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps in the amount of $400,000 to fund the San Fernando Valley Clean and Green Program, and secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract amendment after approval as to form has been obtained by the City Attorney. Mr. Roch, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. Since 1988, the Los Angeles Conservation Corps has provided cleanup and beautification services on a citywide basis through their Clean and Green program. Los Angeles area youth between the ages of 14 and 17 are hired to provide these services, such as litter cleanup, weed abatement, graffiti removal, alley cleaning, and many other projects as needed and as requested. The Office of Councilmember Blumenfield has secured some funding for an expanded Clean and Green program for services in the Reseda and Canoga Park communities. And the goal is that this can serve as an impetus or a pilot project for additional funding from other San Fernando Valley Council offices to expand the Clean and Green services in the San Fernando Valley. Funding in the amount of $400,000 has been established from the CRA LA bond expenditure proceeds, and this morning we request board approval to amend the existing Clean and Green contract with LACC in order to provide funding for these services.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roch. Any questions on this contract amendment for Clean and Green? No questions? Is there a motion on that? Number 1 by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Agenda item number 2, sale of surplus city equipment for the city of Ensenada. Recommending that the board recommend approval and forward the report with its transmittal to the city council with the recommendation that the city council authorize the sale of 7 automated diesel solid waste trucks and 1 tractor trailer at below market value to the city of Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. Mr. Garcia. Good morning, sir.
Good morning again. Ellie Sands here, just requesting your recommendation to approve this and have it go forward to council.
So we'll start with Commissioner Repenning on the motion on agenda item number 2.
Sure. I just wanted to chime in on this one. I know that this is part of our discussion that sanitation's been leading with Ensenada and with Mexico. You know, we've wanted to engage with them specifically around trading commodities from our recycling marketplace as we look in the face of China closing its doors to recycling. Is there a better, more local solution that we have more control over? And so I know that this discussion of the trucks, the diesel trucks, which are, you know, we're phasing out diesel here in LA, but I know that that as a sale, we obviously would like to see them be recycled. So I support this motion, and I support the work you guys are doing, Enrique, with Ensenada.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Garcia.
I also just want to echo what Vice President Commissioner Repenning has just said. I fully support this program too. As we are moving into cleaner and trucks, I want to make sure that our partners, our neighbors, as we are building this partnership, also have what they need. If we have it, we can also share it with them as well. So I fully support this, and I second the motion to pass this motion and be able to partner with Ensenada.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Mr. Jordan, there is some statutory limitation regarding our scope on our ability to do these. We're within that scope at this time, right? We have basically one a year or so?
Yes, the role in the Public Works, for the Board of Public Works under the donation ordinance, it really has more to do with the designation of the foreign city in this case, which we've identified in the motion, so we're well within that.
Great.
Ultimately, it's the council that makes the final determination about approval of the donation. The motion here has the item going to council, so that's also consistent with the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So that would be the amended motion by Commissioner Repenning, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 2. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We will send number 2 forthwith. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, October 5th, 2018? Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. So we have a special presentation this morning. And Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk of the voting items?
Yes, you have.
Okay, so the remainder of our time, we don't have a time limit on our special presentation, which is the way we wanted to design it this morning. So give me just a minute to walk to the podium with our Vice President, and we'll go from there. Thank you, colleagues. I know that there are a number of people in the room that are going to be speaking today. The purpose of our special presentation, of course, is that Commissioner Vice President Heather Repenning is leaving the Board of Public Works to pursue another endeavor in public service. So what I thought we would do, I would like to take President privilege at this point and speak first in honor of Heather, and then I'll make my way back to my seat, and we'll go through kind of our standard procedure so that everyone that has the opportunity today to honor Heather has that opportunity. We have a nice framed certificate. You know, it's a special hearing today when our certificate is actually framed and not in one of our blue folders, and that means it's a very special presentation this morning. So thank you to the board office for doing that. And then we'll have a series of photographs. I think we'll wait till the end of the presentation to do the series of photographs. I'll go through what I want to say, and then I'm gonna read this certificate and go from there. You know, I was thinking on the way in here, Heather, I haven't had a day in City Hall in this incredible part of my career without you, that you haven't been a part of. And it's going to be an adjustment for us every day here in City Hall to work without you. So I want to thank you, even before I begin, for the foundation that you've laid for all of us. You know, my first introduction to Heather came several years ago, even before she knew I was around necessarily. I began paying close attention to the work of the council office in CD 13. I suspected that council office might be in the mayor's race. It was then under Council President Eric Garcetti, of course. And I recognized then that Heather Repenning was one of these key assets of that council office, and one that the councilman clearly relied on to get things done. I also vividly recall seeing Heather in numerous instances in close proximity to then mayoral candidate Eric Garcetti once the campaign had started. When the campaign had started, I was still in the shadows a little bit, but myself and the members on my team, we were well aware of who were the inner circle of the leading candidates in the mayor's race, and Heather clearly stood up and stood out as being one of those well-known to all the other campaign teams. Every other campaign team knew who Heather Repenning was as part of Mayor Garcetti's team, and recognized as one of Eric Garcetti's closest confidants and reliable and effective, hardworking team members, because if you're with Eric Garcetti, you're going to be reliable, effective, and hardworking. The first time Heather and I actually spent quality time together was during a lunch. Remember this? It was a press conference that I participated in with then Council President Garcetti during the general election. It was the endorsement press conference that we did in Van Nuys. And at the end of that press conference, which I'll never forget for just a lot of reasons, but Heather stepped over. My team, we were going to lunch. It was celebratory for us. Came in third, as the mayor liked to say, a close third. We were going to a celebratory lunch with a couple of people from Mayor Garcetti's campaign that we had worked with, and Heather was right there and was really interested and announced that she was really interested in getting to know me and getting to know us. And I'll never forget that. I knew within minutes that sitting down, and we sat directly across from each other, that sitting across from Heather, that a long-term professional relationship was developing. We didn't necessarily know what it was going to be at that point. We knew what we were shooting for, but we didn't know for sure that would happen. At that point, of course, it was premature and impossible to know the extent to which we would end up working together, or to know what important city projects and complex and challenging issues we would get to work on together. But it was clear to me that we would be in regular contact for years to come. Just 5 weeks later, after that lunch, it was to the day 5 weeks, Eric Garcetti was elected mayor. And I knew immediately that night that the potential for working with Heather grew exponentially. And the level of the important matters we would work on together also grew in the same way. Then the transition happened. And during the transition, Heather was one of my key regular contacts with the newly forming Garcetti administration. And for those of you that, this is a really interesting time and I know other people were here, CC and other people were here that were part of that very memorable time in our lives when things are happening really fast. And the way that Heather and Anna and CC kind of as a team managed everything that was coming at this new administration that was only days old and really not even in a mayoral administration yet, was just starting to form, was fascinating to watch and to be a part of. A few weeks later during the transition, I was offered and then accepted a position on the Board of Public Works. That day in the middle of the summer, it was midsummer 2013, right around late June, early July when the administration was taking office. My official working relationship with Heather began, and it's continued every day, every single day, including today since then. And there are many more years of working together to come, and even if those years occur in separate buildings, Heather, I know we're going to continue working together, and I look forward to that. Heather was just one of a handful of people that were personally responsible for my ability to even be here today. Some of you might remember my original confirmation process had some challenges. We had a long hearing down the hall. Heather was one of the key administration members that worked really hard on my city council confirmation. She did not waver in her support. She worked really hard in what was a rapidly moving and fluid political environment to make sure that I succeeded in the confirmation process. every day during that 4 or 5 day period was a real adventure. One of Heather's teammates and colleagues in that process is also here today, and I want to thank both of you again, along with Mayor Garcetti, for sticking with me. I've said over and over again that I've been fortunate in my life to have experienced such a diverse career, and such a diverse career that I've been able to have. This job, really there's no comparison. This job is my favorite. And I feel fortunate and honored to still be here. One of the most rewarding aspects of serving the incredible residents of this amazing city are the great people that you get to work with. Heather has been one of the closest colleagues that I have ever had. And I've had lots of colleagues. I stand here today to honor Heather's numerous years of valuable service to our city and our state, and Heather's service to her community. And I stand here today to say thank you to Heather for more than 5 years of working with me every day, sharing your extensive municipal experience with me, teaching me the value of organizing when facing challenging issues and policy matters, recognizing early when a potential storm that I had not yet noticed was brewing, and for always demonstrating a calm demeanor in the face of significant pressure. Heather and I will continue working together, and so I'm not going to say anything publicly about the many private interactions that Heather and I have been able to have in our own personal lives. Just to say that to say publicly, Heather, I thank you for your counsel over those years, and I look forward to a lifelong friendship for the rest of our lives. There are so many success stories and stories of adversity that I could share right now, but I do want to be mindful of everyone's time this morning. Let me close by reminding you, Heather, that when the work you're about to embark upon seems overwhelming, when it seems too daunting of a task to overcome, seems too confrontational to tackle, just think back on your incredible work at the Board of Public Works, on Recicla, on water policy, on emotional urban canopy challenges, on the creation of food waste policy, on the expansion of contracting and economic opportunities for women and minorities, and on navigating the political pathways of this iconic building. And you will realize that you have the skill set, the drive, the preparation, the education, the instinct, the experience, and the work ethic to accomplish all of it. Heather, thank you, best wishes, and good luck. I want to read the certificate that we have for Heather. It's for the Board of Public Works honors Heather Marie Repenning for her service to the City of Los Angeles as Vice President of the Board, for her dedication and passion, and for her work to improve Public Works service and project delivery, such as the Clean Streets LA, Zero Waste Task Force, Green Streets, Tree Replacement Guarantee, and contracting and procurement reform initiatives, and for her unwavering leadership in matters of water and solid waste with LA Sanitation and in the Southern California region. And we'll do photos after. So I'm going to make my, well, I don't know why I moved it over there, but just to get it closer to you, Heather. But I'm going to make my way back to my chair, and then we'll start with Commissioner Davis.
Great. Heather, it is certainly an honor and a privilege for me to wish you farewell in terms of your great task that you have before you. And I know that you're going to make a big difference there. But I want to just reflect back on your service in the city of Los Angeles. You come to the city as a Phi Beta Kappa Swarthmore College graduate, and you worked very hard with legislative experience. with constituent services experience as a district director for Council District 13. And I am proud of the work that you have done with Mayor Eric Garcetti, but your work starts when he was a council person. And I am certainly very, very much aware that not only have you accomplished a job as an outstanding aide, but you have acquired something that really can't be studied. You either are or you are not, and you are a trusted aide. And in the world of politics, there's a difference between being a political aide and being a trusted aide. And I have the greatest admiration for those who have, through their work, demonstrated that they are a trusted aide. Further, when I look at your work here in the Board of Public Works, you have, in my experience, done some very critical things that have made a difference in this board. In terms of the environment, you have provided environmental leadership on this board, having oversight for our urban forestry policy issues that come before us, and making sure that the city is accountable for tree replacements where needed. If it's 2-to-1, if it's 3-to-1, you make sure that we don't try to do 1-to-1. And that's greatly appreciated by our constituents in the city of Los Angeles as well. But also, you have administratively mastered the advocacy, rightfully so, for the Bureau of Sanitation. And I think it was referred to in President James's remarks. But whether it is zero waste, in which we have done great things, whether it is wastewater or if it's recycler, you have been right there understanding the intricacies of working in those areas and the details that are involved in them. But very close to my heart is the fact that you have really advanced yourself as an advocate for diversity. And certainly every city in the country is having to work towards that. And you have been critically important in making sure that the city of Los Angeles is moving forward and being able to measure some accomplishments in diversity. You have advocated for inclusion of diverse small and emergent businesses, but equally you have advocated for gender equity. And when we look at our society today and the fact that we have a lot of single-parent families and also women who are working themselves, who deserve to get the same pay and the same opportunity that men get like I do. And you have been an advocate for that, and for that we're eternally grateful. I think in summary, the work that you have done in environmental leadership and advocating for sanitation in ways in which they deserve, and finally, in being an advocate for diversity. These accomplishments on this board have been immeasurable. And I know that even though I like public administration and I like sanitation and street services, street lighting, Con Ed, that the work that you will do for this city in terms of education is truly equally as critical. And I am as optimistic, I'm an eternal optimist, to say that you will be an educational leader in this city. So thank you so much for what you've done for us, and we look forward for your future in this great city of LA. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. We have Deputy Mayor Barbara Romero with us this morning as well, with a larger and even more special certificate from the mayor's office. Former Commissioner and Deputy Mayor Barbara Romero, an alumni of our board.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for letting me sneak in. I have to go to the DOT funeral of a traffic officer that's about to start, so I thought I couldn't not be here. Some of you already heard me personally speak about what Heather not only means to the administration, but to Public Works. But I had to be here to publicly thank you for your service to the City of Los Angeles for over 15 years, but in particular, your work as a Public Works Commissioner, because it really speaks volumes of who Heather is, that she was willing to take on not the just, easy issues. She took on the tough, mundane, complex issues and full head led the charge, not only on behalf of the mayor, but on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, to address inequities, to address gender, inequities, and look, businesses, like the environmental aspects of her work. She just took on anything with grit, with laser beam focus, and really, dove in deep into the issues and represents the best of our city workers and the best of that, at a time where people have given up that government could work for people. She is a representative that government can, and the people that make up government do work and do make sense, and that Heather is one of those people who is willing to dive in deep and look ultimately and use the data to inform her, but more importantly, use her heart to lead and make decisions, not only, from the inside, but what's best for our residents. And I'm just happy, and it's a bittersweet moment for all of us here who know her and have had the privilege to work with her. But I also just want to celebrate her and honor her, and hopefully you guys will continued to partner with her in her future endeavors, because she is a no-nonsense woman who is there to just change and improve whatever she touches. So delighted and happy to be here to celebrate you, Heather, on behalf of Mayor Eric Garcetti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Commissioner Garcia.
Heather, I'm personally sad to see you go. As my former boss of many years ago, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss sitting next to you and be able to turn around and ask you silly questions or just really basic questions. You really opened up your doors and your heart when I came into the board, and you showed me around, and I do cherish that. You did show what we all talk about, empowering women. You did that for me, so I want to thank you for that. And I know that you are going on to bigger, well, not bigger and better things, just different, different. But LAUSD will be very lucky to have you there. I know it's a long road, but you know the outcome. I know you will do very good there as well as you've done here. I'm going to miss hearing your perspectives on things when I ask you on different topics or different subjects. But you showed and you've demonstrated to be such a great leader all around. I've always been able to count on you as a friend, but also as a colleague. And so I'm personally sad because I won't see you around the hall anymore. But I'm there for you as a friend, as a colleague, and as a city leader always, and I will support anything that you wish to do. And it is a bittersweet time for me. So I just want to say that. Thank you for being my partner, being my friend, and being a person that empowered me when I got here, and you welcomed me. So thank you for that, and I appreciate that. That speaks volumes of you, to be honest. And I didn't know that you spoke fluently Spanish. So I want to also say that you are absolutely very good at your Spanish. And I enjoyed that from us, that I was able to talk to you like that too. So I just want to say that you are the model of those women that are trying to move forward. You did open that door for me, and I'm sure for many, many others. So thank you for that as you go through your next journey. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James, and to our colleagues, thank you for all your wonderful thoughts, because I'm having a moment here too, and this is a great day in our board because I'm going to speak about auspicious presence. And if you look at all the authority, the power that's here today, that's testimony to you. And I'm going to get a little personal because you have a nickname, Commissioner Repenning. It's La Canela. Hear that? And La Canela is a spice. And undeniably, whenever cinnamon is in a dish or in anything, it is undeniable. You taste it, you feel it, you understand its presence. And like you, wherever you have gone, that we undeniably recognize your presence and your contributions. So what do I have to say to you today? 3.5 years, you came in March, you came in August, and we sat right next to each other, and I just want to thank you and congratulate you for your tremendous career. I focus a lot on narratives because narratives are the stories of our lives, and you have an incredible narrative from being in CD13. We all have a big tie to CD13 where you served. You served the community, you served the district, and I remember I was going back through our emails of interacting, when I was at SEPA and you were in the office, and those continued, and when we served together, Heather, you were just a solid partner, a colleague that was willing to help me understand and help others understand the processes, what we do here, and how to be successful. I'm most successful. I'm most thankful from being a colleague and turning that into a friend. Because that kind of trust building and those battles that we go through are all a part of the work that we do. They're undeniably. And when we can embrace them and go forward, that's real friendship, that's real trust, that's real colleagueship, that's real people being. And you were that to me. I'm so happy that in this place, in our capacities, that wherever we come from, we commissioners are able to find their voice. Find their voice. And what is that voice? That's that voice of our intersection, the sweet spot of which places that we need to live, we need to survive, we need to have a career, we need to learn, we need to put forth our thoughts and our ideas. We need to love, we need to have passion, and we need to leave a legacy. Well, Commissioner Penning, you have done that. You have found your voice. And I'm so happy that you have, because you're going to be able to use this voice for many, many great things, for serving others, for serving young people, and serving the community. And with all that, I'm happy to know that we'll be with you. This entire city will be with you, whatever you do, and to know that Canela, aquí está, and whatever you do will be wonderful because you're going to do it with the best intentions. And so, Commissioner Penning, Heather, to you, we say in Filipino, mabuhay, 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 may you live and thrive and serve. La Canela.
Our city engineer.
Commissioner, I was thinking about it today. We've known each other 15, 16 years, and we got to meet, as most of us did with you, working for then Councilmember Garcetti. But the thing that was special for me is you nominated an award, and the way you spoke and the way you speak today is always from the heart. And it really meant something then, and it always means something when I get to speak with you and spend time with you. And we were in a setting where we were having dinner together, and we got to talk. And I'm always so impressed by you, and I'm so excited that you've chosen to take on a new challenge, because you always succeed. And so I'm so grateful that you're willing to take this challenge on. I love this city. The city of Los Angeles is awesome, and you're always there trying to make it better. And I just love being here and being in the same city with you. And personally, in engineering, obviously, we're always looking for those new engineers and architects. And you've been a champion of young women and students and promoting them to go into STEM, speaking and advocating. And, one of my passions is about gender equity. And you've been there with us, helping us and advocating for that. And it has made a difference. When people hear you speak, they are motivated. And I just want to thank you for that. And finally, something else we've worked long time together on is the Los Angeles River. And people don't know, they see you mostly here on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But as we've heard, the working meetings of running all the departments together and getting us to work together and advocating for this revitalization of the Los Angeles River is another mark you've left on this city. And I personally will miss seeing you here at City Hall, but I know you're going to succeed in your next endeavor. And so from my heart to you, thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Hannah Choi from the Bureau of Contract Administration. And Chris is here.
Good morning, everyone. Commissioner, on behalf of John Reamer, who's not able to be here because of a medical emergency, nothing serious. And the BCA family, we just want to thank you so much for your support, and not just support in words, but in action too, because you created opportunities for women by hosting that Grow With event last year and really personally engaged the businesses. You promoted equity by hosting the ad hoc business committee where business came in and shared their grief and frustration. And you established goals along with our Commissioner Davis of what we can do as a city family, and we are slowly achieving those goals. And then you cared about after they get the contract by putting light on the situation with our payments. And so we're really thankful. We're so thankful. John and I have the utmost respect for you. And as you all know, he will be engaging in workforce issues. And we pray and hope that our paths will cross in the future where we can really impact the defenseless and the young and the voiceless of our city community and really bring hope and transform the city together. And I really, really hope and pray for that day. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. And Norma Esakian from Street Lighting.
Commissioner Repenning, as everybody says, this is a bittersweet moment, and that's exactly what this is. I want to thank you for all the support and guidance that you've given the Bureau of Street Lighting. You've been with us not just at the board, but in the council, so you've been with us for many years, and I want to thank you for that. On behalf of the Bureau, I want to wish you luck, and I sincerely hope that our paths will cross in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma. I can stop saying new at some point, right? We're in the next month, so our director of the Bureau of Street Services, Adel Hashkhalil.
Thank you very much. Heather, thank you for your guidance, your partnership, your help, your friendship. You're always there, and I love when Heather starts twirling her hair. You better be careful, something is coming out. You have to be ready to accept what comes out, which is usually great. But since Enrique said, let's not talk about baseball, but Jackie Robinson said, life is not important, except on the impact it has on other lives. And Heather, you exemplify that. You're your life and career is all about helping others. Our job here is all about helping and serving and making this place a great place. You've touched everyone. You've touched my life, professionally, but also personally. You're a great person to talk to and to discuss issues and resolve issues. And you didn't mince words. You said it like it is. You would just tell us what we need to do and what needs to be done. But also you listened. You listened to us. You asked for advice. I remember one time we were having lunch at a falafel place down the street, and you asked for my guidance, my input as to what can be done. And that was, for me, is only big people ask for that. And I appreciate, because you are a big person in my heart and my view. I think you've done so great, and I know there's more to be done. But on behalf of the men and women of street services, everybody we have representative here, they all appreciate your support and making the streets safe, mobile, and sustainable, protecting our trees and our tree canopy and getting the support, because really it's all about how we can make this place a better place for our children. And you've done great in that effort. We worked closely on green streets. We worked closely on stormwater capture and worked on the urban forestry. And you've touched people's life. You're a woman hero. You're an example. I love, hopefully my daughters will become like you and become champions for the cause, because that's what makes a difference in life. We have a couple of things to give to you as a gift, but I want to say to you, as you had our back, we will have your back. We'll work together to make this place better for all Angelinos, every single Angelino, whether it's a child, whether it's a woman, whether it's immigrant, doesn't matter who we are. We're all here to make this place a better place. And thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And I wanted to give you a gift. I didn't know what to give you. So this serves a couple of purposes. This is a core of a street in Los Angeles. I can't tell you what street because I need to find out what street it came from.
I thought that might be some
But
soap. I was like, oh, nice, some soap. Like, it's nice smelling, like some mint. So, but it's even better.
This is the heart of the city. It's a piece of the city, but also serves as a puck you can throw at somebody in case
I will need
you
that.
need to throw it at somebody. So I want to say we have this to you. I want to ask the team from Street Service to come up and present something to you. Let me.
Yeah, please, please, please.
I'd just like to say a few words as well.
Keith Mose.
Yes. This is, thank you for your support, City of Los Angeles Bureau of Street Services. And on a personal note, you've had an impact on my life and my professional growth, and I appreciate it. We both have something in common. We're very reserved, but we think about things, and then we have something to say, we say it. And you've told me a few things that have actually helped me, and I appreciate that. I'll never forget that. Thank you for that. So, yeah.
Enrique Zaldivar, sanitation.
Thank you, President James. So let me first call you Commissioner Repenning. I'll call you Heather. I would call her Huera. And I didn't know about Canela until now, and actually this week. So I love that nickname too. I was a bit off on my sense of timing of how long we have worked with and for Heather. I was thinking 5 years, but she corrected me. It hasn't been 5 years. But the reason why I thought it was 5 years, because the relationship with you and L.A. Sang has been so solid that I felt we had worked for a longer time. But first impressions, the first time I met Heather, there was some rumblings already about Barbara going over to the mayor's office and who was going to replace her. So we knew the name Heather. I didn't know the name. I didn't know the face Heather, but it was at a reception for one of the deputy mayors who moved on to the port at the time, Don Lu. And there's Heather with Simone. You had brought Simone along for that reception. And I realized, you talk about how I managed to juggle family stuff, and, you realized what you were juggling. And clearly your interest in children, certainly because Simone's your daughter, but I see now with where you're going from here, how you have that special attention to children. And so you came on board and we hit it off, worked really well. You dove into a whole host of issues, but I knew very little about your political power, your political savvy. So Prop 1, the water bond had come out, or there were all this talk about Prop 1. Heather said, we got to go to Sacramento. And I know Ceci was involved at that time as well. So we organized a trip to Sacramento, and there I am with Heather. Everywhere we walked in the Capitol, Oh my goodness. Heather! Heather here, Heather there. She knew everybody in the Capitol. I mean, we were trying to set up meetings on the spot, and Heather would run into somebody, we need to see your boss, meeting to set up. That same day. Amazing. I said, my goodness, Heather, you have this power base that is well beyond what I ever imagined. So now we come back to the ranch, you know, the Capitol and the glamour that comes with the Capitol. I was impressed. Then we have all these, you know, talk about, you know, grunt work and all this stuff that needs to be done back at the ranch. And early on, you know, Heather picked up an interest in organics processing. Organics, I mean, we go from the Capitol, meeting the governor, meeting the speaker, and to organics. So is this the same Heather? Is this the same Canela? Well, I didn't believe it until there's one trip we made to San Francisco. And Alex was with us. It was a group from the mayor's office, Ted Berdocki. I don't know if Carol, no, I don't think Carol was, but Ted Berdocki from the mayor's office, Greg Good, Alex, myself, Heather, a couple others. And organics processing, imagine this, all right? So our first stop was in in San Francisco, not bad, the folks from San Francisco. Then we said, well, we got to follow this with a trip to a landfill. Okay, not bad. I mean, landfills, it's okay. But even a trip to a landfill for Heather, okay, I'm starting to really see that this is genuine. But what really topped it was that somebody in their wits in San Francisco felt that we should go to this anaerobic digester facility. But it's not the anaerobic digester that we all may think of. This is a drive-in type of anaerobic digestion. It's not even a drive-through. You drive in. It's like a in-vessel, big, huge building being used as an inorganic digester. Now, picture that. Most of you have been, all of you here would know what the anaerobic digester would smell like. So we're in the van. It's 8 of us. And I'm saying, damn, we're going into this building, and I've had this thing about, organics processing all along. Door opens. I said, well, great. At least we're not leaving the van. We're all in the van. Van drives in and starts giving us a tour of this big in-vessel type of thing. All right, well, everything's great. The van makes its circle around. We're heading toward the exit door. We're all saying, great, because we survived it. Until the darn door wouldn't open. So guess what? Ted says, oh, let me get out. Opens the door of the van, and all the smell comes in. and he said, oh no, please get the van out as quickly as possible. And I'm looking at Heather. I said, she is genuine. She is genuine. Didn't complain there, complained a heck of a lot later, but said, Ted, what the hell did you just do? Why did you open the door? Anyway, I realized that Heather not only was about all the big political stuff that this board deals with and that the political offices deal with, whether it's Sacramento or Washington or here, but she was also about the real work. She was incredible in shaping the future of water in the city, literally shaping the future of water. You've done that, Heather. And something that has touched our hearts most than anything. You have been amazingly gracious with all of our staff. You know most of our staff. You develop friendships with all of our staff, working relationships for sure. But you got to know a heck of a lot of our staff, if not all of our staff. A testament to that is that you know a whole lot of our people and their names. And because of that, I know we just gave 7 trucks away. but we want to present you with one of our own to you as a testament and a symbol of what you have meant for us and what you will continue to mean for us. So if the executive team and all of the LA Sand folks, please present Heather with what hopefully will be something that will make you think of us. So in that box is a mini truck. And Tracy, if you can please.
A team of engineers is about to open the box. Okay. First of all, I just want to point out that the one thing I won't miss about this job is how cold it is in our boardroom. I really appreciate all the words that have been spoken about me today, because I don't think that I've done that much. Because I think every day we have people out there, collecting trash and driving trucks and pouring asphalt in the hot sun and fixing street lights and trimming trees and doing work that's hard and dangerous. And, we're here in the highly air-conditioned comfort of this beautiful room. It's been an honor to serve in this role. And, I don't know, I'm kind of speechless. Adele, your vision around integrating services, around bringing people together is something I've appreciated, I've learned from. Thank you for being the eternal optimist and cheerleader for what's possible at the city. Norma, you're going to continue to model what it looks like for women to lead in the public works sector. So we appreciate you. Go and show that to women at different points in their career and to girls too. Gary, I realized early on when you mentioned the prize the award that I nominated you for when we were a very young council office and we wanted to do this, the best of, city folks. And I picked you because I realized very early on that if you can get really good engineers behind you, you can accomplish anything. So thank you for your work. Engineering, you guys are you're steady, you're organized, and you deliver. So I appreciate that. I want to thank Con Ad, Hannah, your vision for how what we're doing here is also about people and it's also about communities, and we need to be investing in our communities with the dollars that we spend. We need to hire local workers. We need to make sure that our dollars are well spent, and that we have public transparency, that we have businesses who know how to get in the door and work with us from that look like our city. And I know you're personally very passionate about this, and I appreciate you. Enrique and sanitation, it's been, you guys are just, you really think big, and you really don't say no to anything. And sometimes I've been like, geez, like they've got, they take a lot on, and what you do is you show, we're gonna say yes to this. We're gonna show how it is done. We're going to show success, and then we're going to come later and ask you for more resources to do more of it. And of course, by then, everyone's like completely like addicted to whatever that new service is and can't imagine like not having that service in place. So you grow and you grow, and there's such a great need in our city right now for protecting public health, and with so many opportunities as well with water. I hope we pass our water measure next week. It's been a pleasure to be able to bring, the possibility of getting real resources behind watershed protection. Recicla, we hit some bumps, and we got through it, and we're still standing. There's more optimization and changes to come, but it's to me, I don't shy away from it. I say, proudly, That's what it looks like when a city takes on something big that is adaptation to climate change. It's uncomfortable, it's hard, but you know, you stand behind it and you work through the challenges and you get it done. You know, and I've been just impressed at every step of the way by the team that you build and your work ethic. So I'm gonna miss you guys a lot. Mike, you know, you're a voice for those that don't have a voice. You know, your eloquence, your grace, I'm gonna miss your booming voice and miss you personally as a friend and someone. I just appreciate your contributions to what we do in the city. Auda, I'm so glad you've come onto the board. You know, I just think you're evolving into this, you have the ability to be a real face for the city that people can look to and say, she's one of us, and she knows where we're coming from, she knows what we need, and she's gonna get it done for us, and I know that you're going to just evolve and grow. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you continue to shine. Joelle, you know, since day one when you got here, you just said, I'm here to open the door. And that's what you've done. I mean, you've really been about opening the door and letting people into our world and saying there's, you know, Public Works, we touch so many areas of people's lives. I remember telling you, Auda, when you came on the commission, I'm like, whatever your passion is, you can find it through Public Works. You know, if you're passionate about poverty, if you're passionate about whatever it is, there's some element of what we do that's going to intersect. So find your passion, and your policy evolution will follow that. And you've shown that, you know, openness, engagement, community building has really, I mean, you've done amazing things, and I'm so happy to call you my friend. Kevin, you know, I was laughing when you were describing the first time we met because it sounded like a date. Like, you know, sitting across the table, and it's because I talk about him as my work husband, and you know, I'm just gonna, you know, you work so hard, my friend, and you bring your A game every single day, and you don't stop, and you're out there, you're talking to people, you're working. You're so honest, and you really care about good government. And so, you know, I know we're gonna miss each other, but Cecilia's right there. She'll step in. Anyway, I'm not really going anywhere. I mean, it seems so crazy to me that I'm like, why am I leaving this amazing job? And, you know, but I do feel that, you know, we're doing some things that I would like to try to bring to a part of our government that is honestly, I think, at the core of what we do as a society is educating our kids. If we don't get it right, in my opinion, nothing else matters. And I don't think we're getting it right. So taking a big risk, you know, but it's not without a lot of, you know, a lot of thinking and feeling that it's really the right thing for me to try to do right now. So continue everything you're doing. Don't forget, you know, what I said about, what did I say? I don't know. Work hard every day. That'd be my motto. Canela is actually, you know, the female version of a Mexican boxer. So, you know, with red hair, I'm going into fight mode. So I look forward to having, you know, you guys with me, hopefully as part of that as well. Thanks again, and go get a blanket. Oh, and by the way, Barbara talked earlier about my list of things I wanted to get done. I have a couple more on there. So I'd like to take a point of personal privilege to submit a motion that I know can't be voted on today, but I would like to submit it for you guys to hear and consider when I'm gone, which is I'd like to have sanitation and our board come back to you with a report on how we could use $100,000 of money from the Recicla Community Benefit Fund to do another food waste challenge. Our first one was very successful. I think there's a lot more work to do. Julia left. Anyway, helped put it together. She was here. So you guys can hear this, think about it, decide what you want to do, but I did want to get that rolling before I left. I have a couple more things I'm going to email a few of you later on my list. But thank you so much for the the words today.
Thank you, Heather. So nobody gets to leave yet. We have some photographs that we want to choreograph. So we'll start over here. I'll do one-on-one, Heather, with our certificate, and then we'll do board, and then bureau directors, and then we want one with everybody, and we might have to do that one in the back of the room. Okay? Oh, let's do that. I love that, Heather. Heather, can we do a couple of the small ones here, though? Yeah, okay. Great. Okay. Yes, so we're adjourned except for the photographs. Please don't leave.